Welcome to Bitter Reality Brewing. Today we're doing a Czech Pilsner, or also called a Czech Premium Pale Lager. It will be a pseudo lager. I'll explain. Don't forget, like, subscribe, keep sharing, definitely appreciate it. This is only going to be 9 pounds and a quarter ounces of actual grains. I mean, a very simple malt bill, nothing special. We've got our Anvil, we've got our Jaded Scylla. Yes, I always leave links below for any and everything I use in the brewing, or at least the majority of what I use in the brewing. So if you're curious, it doesn't cost you any more, but you know, hooks me up sometimes with some chump change, which is always nice. We're doing a very simple, pretty classic type recipe here. We've got 7 pounds, 6 ounces of Pilsner malt, a pound of Vienna malt, half a pound of Carapils. I'm not a big Carapils person, but that is very standard in this recipe, so I went with the Carapils. And then I have seen 4 to 8 ounces of acid malt. I want the acidity, but I don't want it to go totally nuts. So we're gonna go for 6 ounces, which I think is still a little more than I really need. Then we're only adding Saz, just Saz hops. We're doing 2 ounces, as the alpha acids are pretty low in Saz, and the one I'm using is 3.2%. So I'm doing 2 ounces of Saz at 60, an ounce at 30, an ounce at 5, and then 2 ounces at 0 at flame out. That should come out really nice. The reason I called it a pseudo lager is that we're not using a lagering yeast. We're using Loki, which is from Imperial yeast. It is one of the ones out there that has been talked about heavily for doing pseudo lagers. Hornindal is very nice too. I've actually had things that I've fermented a little warmer that have actually come out pretty mild with that. But we're looking to do it around 70, 72 degrees, nothing warm. And we're only going to mash in at around 152 Fahrenheit. So very simple, very easy recipe, easy brew, nothing big. One thing that's great with using either a pale ale or a very basic lager is that if you want to test flavorings out that you may want to use in brews and you're not sure how much flavoring, you can always pour yourself a glass, add a few milliliters or whatever you're looking to add, and then multiply that for a 5-gallon batch, and you can stir and try it. That's something I learned Dogfish Head does with Allagash's white. They like to do flavorings and do that. Sam Cologne had mentioned that, which was pretty cool. So, we've got everything we need. Let's get brewing. Okay, let's get our brewing salts in. We're at 123, 122 is what we're looking for, but it'll be all fine. There's the brewing salts. Give them a quick stir. And remember with the feet, where you're putting your feet so you can remember. And how do we want this? We want it like that. So I'm gonna set it down like that. That way I remember which way the feet are. Okay, we're in, we're good. I'm gonna go ahead and mash in. I don't need rice hulls for this, but I'm putting them in just to be safe. Okay, so we're gonna open up the flow. Okay, turn on the pump. And we are flowing way too fast. There we go. And I'm gonna say that's pretty good. There we go. And we'll let that go. Okay, it says 125. Hopefully it'll come back down to one. Oh, you know what? I always forget. No power. We're gonna bring the power down to 65 so it doesn't keep. There we go, we're at 65. Hopefully that'll keep it from jumping up like it was doing before. A moisture spot or something there. Ah, here we go. No, it's still there. Ah, crap. Okay, I've got a timer here for 15 minutes at 122 Fahrenheit. So I'm hitting it. There it goes. 15 minutes at 122. Okay, our alarm just went off. Clear. Gonna go up to 145 for 30 minutes. We'll bring the power up so we don't have to wait very long to get there. There we go. Once we hit 145, I'll start the timer for 30 minutes. Shouldn't take more than maybe 5-6 minutes to get there, and we'll rock on. Okay, we're moving up to 158 for 30 minutes. I've never had it sit in a mash at 158, but we'll see how this goes. And we're gonna kick up 100% just so we can get there a little faster. Okay, we're at 158. We'll start the timer. We're gonna be there for 30 minutes. And so we don't keep going up like it's been doing lately, I'm gonna bring this down to 60 and we'll see how that goes because it still seems to be running a little high. Here we go, we got 30 minutes. Okay, we got 30 seconds or 20 seconds left on the timer. So we're going from 158 to 170 actually for 10 minutes. And let's get the power up 100% just to get it there quick. Okay, once we get up to 170, we'll be there for 10 minutes. So I'm gonna get this ready. I'll leave a link down below for these things. I love these things. They are making my life a lot easier, especially when I'm doing multiple brews. Heat resistant or heat tolerant, whatever you want to call it. Seem to work really well. Easy to use too. The humidity spot I had in here seems to be going away. I'm hoping it stays gone. It was a little troubling and upsetting, but hopefully we're all good. Okay, we're already at 164. It's going up quite rapidly. I'll probably drop it down to about 70, maybe, 65% once I hit 170. And like I said, I'll start the 10-minute timer and we'll rock on. Time to heat up the sparge water. Okay, sitting at 168. I said 170, it's all good. Turn off the pump. Close the valve and all those other wonderful things. I get burned by these a lot of times, so I've decided to start using things like this just to hold them in place so I don't have to worry too much about it. This is probably pretty hot, so we're gonna go ahead and use this, and I'm gonna lift it straight up. And I can see the measurements, which was my goal. We got the sparge water heating up. We'll give that a little bit. Okay, I got the sparge water heating up. It's probably getting pretty close. I'm gonna let this drain for a little bit, and then we'll go ahead and kick it up and get it to a boil. Okay, I'm getting ready to sparge out. I do have one issue with the feet that bothers me, and as you can see, I spun it 180 degrees, is that it sits at an angle. So, a little level. I set the level in here. Okay, we are extremely level now. That way I know the water's not running, or the sparge water's not running to one side, it's kind of going all even. Maybe a non-issue, it's just starting to bother me a little. And I'll show you what I did. Okay, you can see what I did is I took basically a little scraper tool for putting spackle on a wall, and I shoved it under until it was level. That's it. I'm gonna do the sparge and then I'll take it out. Okay, let's go ahead and sparge. Okay, it's at 171. I kicked it up to a boil, so we'll get there pretty quick. I'll let that drip for a little while. Okay, just hit 200 over here. I don't want to cause a problem, so we're gonna take this out. Still dripping a tiny bit, but not much. And there's my multi-purpose pot it's sitting in. We got a football game going, so the helicopters just keep spinning around. It's annoying. Okay, since this is such a small batch, I have the defoamer handy, but I doubt I'm gonna need it. I don't think it's gonna be able to push over the top, even if it foams up quite well. So we'll let that go. Okay, I have like maybe 7.2 total gallons, and some of that is actually stuck in the grain, so it's less than that. And yeah, we got close to a boil over. It was right at the top edge. I have not put any defoamer in there yet. I am debating and I'm trying not to, but it is starting to come up again. And luckily the brew paddle was sitting there and I was all ready to go. Oh, and now that we got a good boil going too, I'm gonna kick my timer on here. We'll do a 29-minute countdown since we already started. And I gotta get my hops ready too. We have our 60-minute addition. So I'm gonna drop this in there. Nice new one. I've got 2 ounces of Saz. Just drop them all in. We're gonna have a 30-minute addition of Saz, and then we're gonna have a 5-minute and a flame out. And the flame out is a 2-ounce addition. Everything else is 1 ounce. Going for around a 35, 36 IBU. So, okay, we got another 30 minutes before we have another hop addition. We'll rock on. Some more Saz. Smells so good. This is our 30-minute addition. Okay, we're on the last stretch. I have the 5-minute addition. And then we'll be doing a 0 and dropping the Jaded Scylla in there and chilling things down. And I almost forgot. Got a Whirl Flock tablet. I'm just dropping the whole tablet in. I know it's a waste, but tired of breaking them in half. And our yeast nutrient. Okay, here we go. We got our 0 minute. And go ahead and kill the heat. Let's drop this bad boy in there. And there we go. Get a little man-made agitation there. We're at 153 and dropping quick. So we'll rock and roll. We had a successful brew day. This is Czech Pilsner, lager, pseudo lager, whatever you want to call it. We're not actually using a lager yeast. We're using Imperial's Loki, which is a Kveik type yeast. And we're going to try to ferment it around the 68, 70 Fahrenheit. under pressure. So it's gonna take a little while. It could finish out at 1.005 according to what I'm seeing on Beersmith, but I'm really hoping it ends up somewhere about 1.011, 12. Otherwise, we're gonna be sitting at about 6.2%. I was shooting for 5%. I totally forgot to put the yeast in there. Yeah, my bad, but oh well. And our brew house efficiency, I was shooting for about 75, maybe 77, and I hit about almost 80%. So yeah, it is what it is. So I'm gonna go ahead and pitch the Loki yeast. It smells nice, a little fruity. At the lower temperatures, it should be much cleaner. But if we do push it up high, we're gonna get all those lovely fruit smells, which I don't want. So, okay, let's go. I have no measurement on this one, so we're just gonna have to pitch about half. And since Kveik yeast likes to be stressed a little, we won't give it quite half. Okay, I'm gonna seal this up. I gotta put some pressure on it, bring it up to right around 5 PSI, and then we'll let it go up to about 10 PSI on its own. Got my Spundit valve, or Spundit 2.0. Drop that bad boy on there. And I gotta put some water in here and we'll adjust it and we'll be all good. So, not a big deal. Very good brew day. Thank you again for joining us here at Bitter Reality Brewing, and don't forget, check out part 2 when we do the taste testing and I move it around a little bit, you know, things like that. Thank you again. Cheers.